Good morning and thanks for tuning in to Kalkine TV. I'm James Preston and it's great to have your company for another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. Over the past few decades, companies big and small have been actively trying to improve the holistic experience of their employees. Outside of the obvious benefits of a healthy mind and healthy body for the individual, it's fair to say businesses came to the realization that a happy, healthy employee was inherently a more valuable asset than a sick and disgruntled one. It's a step pushed by society more broadly and one that has resulted in a number of campaigns, whether it be a push-up challenge, Are You OK Day, fundraising books for things like motor neuron disease or others. But this week, June 14 through to June 20 is Men's Health Week, and it's an important week that I can't possibly discuss without the help of Ali Taylor, the CEO of mental health and music charity Listen Up Music. Ali, a very good morning to you, mate.
Very good morning to you. Thank you for having me.
Mate, thank you so much for being here on Kalkine TV. It's a really important week. Talk to us a little bit about Men's Health Week. What's it all about? How does it differ, for example, from Are You OK Day?
Yeah, it's actually really simple in its concept. So it's really about showing the Australian community the state of male health, but in all of its forms. So whether that's physical, mental, financial, etc. So whilst Are You OK Day has specific focus on mental health and community matters, Men's Health Week is about everything male health.
And what are some of the numbers associated with men's health compared to other genders?
Yeah, they're quite frightening, and males are much more likely to experience a mental health disorder or mental health issues to other genders, and there are a few differing reasons and research figures around that. But yeah, it just the simple fact is that it's much higher for a male than others. So in this week, the mental health conversation is very high on the agenda for Men's Health Week too. Yeah,
well, as it should be, 100%. I mean, we see a lot of different days for various causes, but often it seems like men do get neglected in the conversation. Now, as the CEO of a music and mental health charity in the form of Listen Up Music, this is your bread and butter. When you're dealing with these often intense kind of situations on a regular basis, what is Listen Up Music doing? And for this week in particular, what do you have planned for Listen Up Music?
Yeah, so with that men's issues, there are kind of two schools of thought as to why it is that they don't seek help. One of them is because they have there's a perception around men that they don't really care about health, or that the health services aren't really well prepared to kind of service men's needs effectively. And then the other school of thought is this very archaic belief in Australia that this kind of suck it up mentality, mentality. And with that comes a whole load of expectations on men that they're supposed to do X, Y, Z. And that can really be a barrier. So for us at Listen Up Music, the best things that we can do for males is to normalize the conversation, get people who are males who are happy to talk about the issues that they've had, the help that they've got, and then the recovery as a consequence of doing that. And the other part is community, and that's really at the heart of everything we do. So we have a number of events that are coming up. So we have Australia's biggest mental health music festival. We have a mental health songwriting competition, and we're doing a number of things with organisations around breaking down those barriers to people actually seeking help. And some of that is stigma related, but some of that is related to the fact that men generally don't care as much about their health as they should.
And for this week itself, Ali, with Listen Up Music for Men's Health Week, have there been certain things you've been doing?
Yeah, so apart from the preparation for all the events coming up, we've been working with some educational organisations to go in and talk to them as part of their wellbeing weeks or their men's health activations to go and really talk to people and say, you know that there's help out there, you know that there's support, but what are the barriers to you getting that? And really doing myth busting and making it easier for people to get the help and realize that you're no less of a man by going and asking for help. In actual fact, it's probably the opposite.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're on top of it for this week and also moving forward, as you've mentioned with some of those events. So I think that's a really important thing too. It's not just one week that it's dedicated to. Yes, this is the week to sort of have the conversation more broadly in the country and take action and maybe pull someone aside and say, hey mate, how are you going? Those kind of things. But it doesn't just end this week, does it?
No, absolutely not. And it's the same perception with Are You OK Day. It's not about one day. That's just a day to get a lot of people talking about it. And then it's actually, how do we keep the conversations and how do we keep the action happening outside of that week? So yeah, this is just a real opportunity for awareness and to bring people on the start of some of their mental health journeys. And then after that is making sure that everyone's linked to appropriate support, whether that's short-term or long-term support for whatever issues they might have.
Yeah, of course. Now, look, while it's an incredibly important conversation to have around men's health and mental health in general, at Kalkine TV, our focus is on business in the finance industry, but there is an inherent correlation between mental health and health more generally and the fortunes of any company. A recent report on mental health in the workplace, for example, by PricewaterhouseCoopers, that looked at the financial costs incurred when employees do not take action to manage health and specifically mental health conditions in their business. And it estimates the cost to Australian businesses is approximately $10.9 billion every year. Now, that's a mind-boggling number. I mean, how do you address that?
Well, yeah, we absolutely need to address it, because in any male's lifetime, 25% of the male population will experience a mental health disorder, and in any 12-month period, 15% of the male population do. Now, if you think about that from a business sense, if you have suddenly 15% of your business or your male team members or workers not showing up to work, then you can see that absenteeism or presenteeism having a massive impact on the bottom line, because not only are you paying for your workers to not work, but then all the things that you've budgeted and you've outlined for the year and all the goals and objectives that you want to hit, you're going to have to do that now with 15% less male population. So it's huge, and rightly, organisations in Australia are now investing up front in ensuring that these people are supported, because yes, whilst their outlay initially on well-being may be higher than it has been in previous years, compared to what the loss of earnings would be at the end of the year if they didn't do it, it's far outweighs what that would look like.
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned there that a lot of companies are getting on the front foot, doing it beforehand. We're seeing things such as mental health days, usually get one or two of those a year. But I suppose for me, the concern is, 1 or 2 days is often not enough to get things right, certainly with mental health, but also just in more holistic terms too. So are there things that businesses can implement moving forward to better address these issues?
Yeah, absolutely. And interestingly, in more recent times with COVID, the organisations who've been really listening to their staff during that time have made some huge pivots. So flexibility is a massive thing, because during COVID, people were starting to be more involved in kids pickup or activities if they have children. Also realising that not having such large commutes, that there's more hours of the regular day that they can be spent. But I think holistically, what really needs to happen from an organisation is focusing on the early intervention prevention piece as opposed to the crisis support piece. So a lot of organisations talk about having things like employee assistance programs or crisis support lines or things, and that's great for people who get to that end. But I want us to live in a world where nobody needs to get to that point, and they're getting the support up front. So clear signposting to what supports they are, whether they're internal or external, a focus on financial well-being programs because, again, due to COVID, obviously lots of people were hit financially. So showing your staff what it is that your well-being offering is and showing them easy, straightforward ways of accessing it. So if someone is feeling overwhelmed, they're not going to go to a landing page with hundreds of different options because that's just going to add to that. So simplification is key, and making sure that you look after holistic well-being because people's physical, mental, financial, spiritual, nutritional health, they all have a knock-on effect. So you have to make sure that you're covering the whole self. And with Men's Health Week, that's exactly what it's all about. It's about the holistic well-being as opposed to just focusing on one area.
No, you're 100% right. It's all interconnected. It all has adverse and positive reactions when you've got one thing in line or one thing that's out of whack. It really can have those flow-on effects. Now, if you're just joining us, I am chatting with Ali Taylor, the CEO of Listen Up Music. We're talking about Men's Health Week and also health more generally. Just before I let you go, Ali, you mentioned at the beginning of the interview that you got a few things coming up with Listen Up Music. I know one of them has a wonderful name behind it, Torch Fest. Just tell us a little bit about that and also where we can get in touch with Listen Up Music moving forward. Yeah,
sure. So Torch Fest is something that's been in the planning for about 2.5 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, we really wanted to put on a music festival which put mental health at the forefront. We were very tired of seeing lots of music festivals with a token mental health tent in the corner, and it was like a tick box exercise. Yeah, we've got that covered. Where given all the challenges of the last 18 months, having these artists perform and the name Torchfest comes from this belief that everyone has a torch song, which is the song that gets them through. So each of the performers at Torchfest, as part of their set, will be playing their own torch song and telling the story behind it, which we hope will open up the dialogue and make it easy for people to have conversations in a safe way. And in terms of how you get in touch with us, we're across all the major social media channels, and you can find us at listenupmusic.com.au, or just Googling us, Listen Up Music, and I'm sure you can find us that way too.
Brilliant. Ali, thank you so much for your time. That's Ali Taylor, the CEO of Listen Up Music, mate. All the best moving forward.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Wonderful. So Ali Taylor there, CEO of Listen Up Music, joining us on Kalkine TV. That's it for this Expert Talk. You can catch up on the full catalogue of Kalkine's interviews with industry experts on our YouTube channel. I'm James Preston, and as we say at Kalkine, stay apprised and invest wise.